Hello and welcome back. Today's video, I will be recapping my favorites from 2018. I did this video last year as well, where I recap my favorites from the year before, 2017. I will leave both of those videos in the description box in case you are interested. This is the first of a lot of end of year videos. I am really excited. Also, I will be doing a year-long makeup empties video, and spoiler, a lot of the favorites from this year are actually empty now, which is really exciting. I am so happy that I've gotten good use out of all of my makeup. A lot of these you've probably seen in other videos, but anyway, let's just get into recapping last year's favorites. The first one for eyeshadow primer was the Wet n Wild eyeshadow primer, and I do still really like that one. I did finish it. I had a hard time finding it. I was digging through my year-long empties bag. I couldn't find it in there. I think it is there. I still like it, although recently I switched over to the Milani one only because I couldn't find the Wet n Wild in stores anymore. Then for eyeliners, I had the Maybelline Line Stiletto as a liquid liner, and this is still the only one that I can do a wing with. It is crazy. I just can't do it with any other ones. I've tried and failed, therefore I'm sticking with this. This is a new one though because my other one had dried up. Then I had this eyeliner as a favorite. This is the Urban Decay 24/7 in Alkaline. And this is probably one of the few ones that I would say is no longer a favorite. I'm currently trying to finish it in a project pan. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a pretty burgundy color, but it's just kind of an unnecessary item for me now. I've just discovered I like a black in the waterline, and beyond that, I can put any other color I want on the lower lash line. Therefore, I just don't need colored eyeliners, and I do want to get this used up. For mascara, I had two different favorites. One was the Loreal Voluminous for my top lashes, and then the CoverGirl Lash Blast for the bottom lash line. And I do still love these. These two are empty. I did try the Clump Crusher this year from CoverGirl for the first time, and I love that. I kind of like it slightly more than this. They're pretty similar, I would say, but the Clump Crusher does give more length and volume. But this I was just using on the lower lashes anyway. This is a lot of volume for the upper lashes. And I did recently repurchase this just because I really wanted that va-va-voom on the upper lashes that my other mascaras were not giving me. For brows, I had the Essence Make Me Brow, and this is still my favorite lash mascara. It's crazy. This color is Brownie Brows. I have the lighter one now, and I think that one is a bit too light. I do want to go back to this color afterwards, but I just love that this brush is so teeny tiny and small. A lot of brow mascaras, they're too big and then it gets on the outside of the brows and whatever, but this is still a favorite. It's only $3. Okay, getting into face products, my favorite primer in 2018 was the Maybelline Baby Skin, and I still do like this, although I have a new favorite, which you've probably heard me talk about, the CoverGirl one, and I do like it a little bit more. This is quite good though if you like a standard silicone pore filling primer. This is still really good. Alrighty, for foundation, I had said Estee Lauder Double Wear, and for the longest time, I couldn't find a foundation that was anywhere close to as good as that one and even as good of a color match for me. However, this year I have found several foundations that I do like more. I still think Double Wear is absolutely amazing, but I'm finally at the point where I don't feel the need to repurchase it, which is very exciting. All right, I had two concealer favorites. These are both also empty. The Revolution Conceal and Define in C3, and then Tarte Shape Tape in Light. I think that I really like these still. This is a lot more coverage. This is a lot less coverage. Currently, I'm using some other concealers from the drugstore that I do absolutely love. But if I were to repurchase these, I would probably get this one just because it's way cheaper. All of the fantastic drugstore concealers out there, I just don't feel like I need Tarte Shape Tape anymore, although I do really love it. Next category is face powder, and looking back on this, I completely forgot about this. This is the Colourpop No Filter Press Powder in Fair, and this is also empty. And this makes me realize I really did like this powder and I miss it. I have other powders that I do really like, but honestly, I would repurchase this, and I probably should. I think it's only $7 or $8. I do have some high-end face powders in my collection now, and I don't know that they're actually worth it because this was really good and really nice packaging too. The next category is under eye setting powder, and there are only two ever under eye setting powders that have worked for my under eyes. I have dry under eyes with lines, so a lot of powders They either don't set the concealer properly and it creases or makes them look really dry. The Lancome Absolu powder is the one that I talked about last year, and I still haven't finished this. I've had this for a year and a half. This isn't a project pan. I don't have a ton left, but this is $60, which is very, very expensive, but it has lasted me over a year and a half. Therefore, you know, that is a good thing. Other holy grail one is the Bare Minerals Mineral Veil. That one is $24. I've gone through a lot of those, and I usually end up finishing those in about 9 to 10 months. So I think financially it's still worth it to get the Mineral Veil super finely milled powder. The next category is finishing powder, and last year I had picked this, the Hourglass palette, and this is all empty. If you've been watching my various project pans, this was in Finish 13 by Halloween. I finished this whole thing. I can't believe it. I mean, I haven't had this for about 2 years. It took a long time to finish, but I loved these for finishing powders. I still love the Hourglass powders. I have a mini of Luminous Light right now, which I'm using. I don't think I would repurchase this palette though, only because one of the shades, it wasn't too dark. It still worked, but honestly, on the whole, they're not all that different from each other. I would just rather buy a full size of the color I like the most, which is probably Luminous Light, and stick with that. But yeah, this is $64. At the time I bought it, it was $62. It's a pricey little number, but I did finish the whole thing and I loved every second of it. On to bronzer. You probably could have guessed, I still love this. This is the Marc Jacobs Tantastic bronzer. I have the other one as well, and I just like this one a little bit more. It's more warm toned. I've used this quite a bit, but I've used the other one more. I have pan on that if you also are watching my project pans. I have some dip in this, but this is one I would like to focus on in the future. These are ginormous. They are 0.8 ounces, which is over twice the size of your average bronzer. But yeah, I definitely still love this. Okay, on to blush. I had picked the Anastasia blush kit in Radiant. And this, I do still love this. No complaints, really nice formula. These are really pigmented and blend out really smoothly. I do want to get more use out of this, and I just put this in a project pan. I do want to hit pan on this shade right here. Honestly, I kind of wish I had used this more this year because it is such a favorite. The thing about blush is it's really hard to go through blush. I did finish one blush earlier this year, and it took a lot of work and focus, but this is still very good. It's crazy. I still love almost all of these products, and that includes this highlighter, which is Ofra Cosmetics Everglow. This was a collab with Nikki Tutorials. This is the one with the 3 wheels, but they do sell each one of these individually. I still love this. I think this is more intense than my other Ofra highlighters. I have Beverly Hills and the Samantha March one. This is more intense, which is pretty crazy. I don't know if they've changed their formula or if this was just more intense because that's how Nikki Tutorials wanted it. I don't know, but I love this thing. I don't know that I'll ever finish it because it's so pigmented, but looking back on it, that they sell these 3 individually, although they did not at the time I bought it, I probably would just buy the lightest one because that's definitely my favorite out of this trio. I think this is called Glazed Donut. This is just like the most intense, whitest highlight in my whole collection, and it's amazing. There's a swatch of the lightest shade, which is Glazed Donut. And yeah, that's super intense. So if you don't like intense, crazy, frosty white highlighters, definitely do stay away from that one. Next up is eyeshadow palettes, and I had picked one neutral and one colorful palette. For the neutral, I went with Soft Glam, and I'm happy to say I still love this palette, and I since have 3 pans on it, which is very exciting. I do want to get more pans on this because, like I said, it's still one of my favorite palettes. I've talked about it a lot. I love that you can get pink neutral looks and also more warm gold neutral looks. I think this has more variety than your average neutral palette, and I really enjoy the Anastasia formula. Happy to stay. I still love this. For the colorful palette, I had picked the BH Weekend Festival palette, and this is still one of my favorite colorful palettes in my collection. Sadly, this one, I don't think I have used it very much for the second half of the year. At the beginning of the year, I did have it in a project pan and I hit pan on this yellow gold shade, and I was using it a lot more then, but at that time I had less colorful palettes. Now I have a good like 10 or 11 colorful palettes. Therefore, I haven't used this one as much. So I really need to get back into using this. I still think it is amazing and one of the best quality colorful palettes. Unfortunately, they discontinued it though, although I have heard some people say that they have seen this and other discontinued BH palettes at Marshall's or TJ Maxx, but they did release a part 2 to this, which I did not purchase. I just felt like I didn't need it and I preferred this color story, but I really do love the BH formula overall. Okay, we are on to lip products. For regular tube lipsticks, I had picked the Luxe lipsticks by Colourpop. These are still a favorite. You've heard me talk about these. This color is Ghosted. It's kind of like a pinky berry color. It is super pretty. I just think this formula is so nice. It's smooth, it's not overly drying, it is quite pigmented, and the packaging is luxurious. I think these are $7 or $8. I do think Colourpop has increased the prices on a lot of things by $1 or so in the last year, but this is still really affordable and I love the formula. Then I had picked a liquid lipstick, and that was the Smashbox liquid lipstick Fair Game. And this is empty also. I am really happy that I finished this. I still do like this and I wouldn't mind having more of these in my collection. The issue is I have like 30 something lipsticks and they expire and they go bad and it's hard to finish lip products. This is $24, which is pretty expensive. I think if I got my lipstick collection down a little bit more, I would repurchase one of these. Obviously, I loved it. I finished the whole thing. I would maybe try a different color. This is a pretty standard nude shade, and I would just often wear this with a lip gloss on top, and it made it more long lasting than your average lipstick. Alrighty, and the last and final favorite I had at 2018 was a lip gloss, the Marc Jacobs Sugar Sugar. And again, this is one of those that I'm like, oh, man, I've missed this thing. I finished this quite a while ago, earlier this year, and now looking at it, I'm like, I kind of want to have this again. This is a really pretty pinky nude. It is quite pale on the lips, but it gave a lot of shine. I've noticed that not all of my lip glosses are treated equally as far as shine goes. I like a lot of shine from my lip gloss. This definitely had that, and I loved it. This is $28, which is pretty expensive for a lip gloss considering the NYX Butter Glosses are absolutely amazing and they're only $5. I've just wanted to try other things, therefore I haven't repurchased this, but this may be on my list of things to repurchase along with the Smashbox and the Colourpop powder. Alrighty, that is it for this video. I am so excited that I not only have finished a lot of these favorites from last year, but I still would consider them all a favorite, except for probably that Urban Decay eyeliner. It's just not a necessary product, but there's nothing wrong with it. And looking back on this kind of does make me want to repurchase a couple of these things, particularly the Marc Jacobs lip gloss and that Colourpop powder. I definitely think I probably will get those in the future because I do miss them. They were really good. Anyway, that is it for this video. Check out last year's videos in the description box and stay tuned for a lot more end of year videos. I will be doing a 2019 favorites as well. That is it, and thank you for watching.